Okay, this lesson is on the dot product. It's going to be also known as the scalar product of vectors. The dot product is useful to find the angle between two vectors. It can also be useful to prove that any two vectors are perpendicular. Okay, so there are a couple different formulas for the dot product. You have cos theta equals a dot b over the magnitude of a, magnitude of b. Remember, magnitude is given with the straight lines for vectors. Where a dot b is a1 b1 a2 b2. So this relies on a couple things. One, that you know what the magnitude formula is, which is for magnitude of a, it is the square root of a1 squared plus a2 squared. And the other thing to know that if you're dealing with vector a, that a1 is your x component and a2 is your y component. So knowing those things, you can put them into the dot product formulas. This dot product one that has the cos theta by itself, it can be rearranged by taking the magnitudes over to the other side and turn them to multiplication. Now, given that we're dealing with cos, there's a few properties that come into play. If my a dot b equals 0, the vectors are perpendicular, and that is because the cos of 90 degrees is 0. If my a dot b is greater than 0, then the angle between them is acute, and that's because when you're dealing with acute angles in cos, you have positive values. And if my a dot b is negative, less than 0, then the angle between them is obtuse, and that's because the cos of an obtuse angle is a negative value. All right, let's do some examples where we're going to deal with these dot product formulas. Okay. The first one is given my two vectors, p and q. Okay, I want to find p dot q. So that is going to equal, so p dot q is going to equal, and it goes, so your x values, so 4 times 3 plus the y values, 1 multiplied together times 5. Okay? So you have your x components multiplied together, your y components multiplied together. That will give me 12 plus 5, which is going to give me 17. Now what does this mean? Okay, right now it doesn't mean much other than the fact that my dot product was greater than 0, which means the angle between them is going to be acute. Okay, let's prove this. Let's find the angle between p and q. So here I'm going to use my other formula where it goes cos theta equals, and it's a dot b over magnitude of a, magnitude of b. Now obviously I'm dealing with p's and q's this time. Now I know my a dot b is 17. I found that initially. Multiply my x components together, multiply my y components together. Now I need to know my magnitude of a, magnitude of a, magnitude of b. In other words, magnitude of p and q with these vectors. So my magnitude of p is going to equal the square root of 4 squared plus 1 squared, which is going to give me the square root of 17. The magnitude of q is going to equal the square root of 3 squared plus 5 squared, which gives me the square root of 9 plus 25, okay, which is going to be the square root of 34. So here I have the square root of 17, square root of 34, that can go into my formula, cos theta. Now I can put that into a calculator, so you can go 17 divided by the square root of 17 equals divided by the square root of 34 equals, and you're going to get cos theta equals 0.707. Okay, now I can figure out the angle using this shift cos, and you're going to get equal to exactly 45 degrees. Okay, so the angle between P and Q is exactly 45 degrees. Find A dot B if I'm given the magnitude of A, magnitude of B, and the angle between them being 60 degrees. Let's find the A dot B. Now, out of all the formulas that you're given, The one that makes the most sense is cos theta equals A dot B, magnitude 8. This is the one I'm given all the same information for. So let's do that. Cos theta equals A dot B over magnitude of A, magnitude of B. So let's put in the information we know. So we know theta, so I'm going to have cos 60 degrees equals A dot B. That's what I want to find. Over, I know the magnitude of A was 3 and magnitude of B is 5. So I'm going to have cos 60 degrees equals A dot B over 15. I can multiply the 15 over to the other side, so I'm going to have 15 cos 60 degrees equals A dot B. Now 60 degrees is cos 60 degrees is 1/2. Multiply them together, I'm going to get 7.5 equals A dot B. Okay, now would be the answer to that question. The dot product is 7.5. The other good property with the dot product is proving two things are perpendicular, or finding things are perpendicular. So, if my dot product A dot B equals 0, I know they're perpendicular. And remember that A dot B, one of the other formulas is A1, B1, so multiplying the x components together, plus the product of multiplying the y components together. So, in this question, I want to find my unknown t, given that these two vectors are perpendicular. So I'm just going to write out the formula. A1, B1 plus A2, B2 is going to equal 0 because they're perpendicular. So put in your x components. So it would be -1 times 2 plus my y components multiplied together. 5 times t equals 0. Multiply, so I'm going to -2 plus 5t equals 0. And I'm going to rearrange for t, so I'm going to add 2 to both sides, so 5t equals positive 2, divide by 5, t equals 2 divided by 5. So if the second vector b was equal to 2 and 2/5, then it would be perpendicular to the first vector a, because my dot product would be equal to 0. Okay? So a short little lesson on the dot product and the different formulas. Remember, it's mainly useful for finding the angle between two vectors or to prove that two vectors are perpendicular. Thank you very much.